Good Monday morning of the 17th week. I have to admit, I forgot to do these. Today is, in fact, the Monday of the 17th week. I usually do these things a week in advance. Something got fouled up. I didn't do them. Oh, no, I'm behind. I better get this bad boy out right away. Or my friends in Alaska will be on me. They'll say, "Where are you?" Boy, I'm so grateful for those so many people who watch these, especially my Alaska gang. I have to say that. I know you're listening. You know, we became such special friends. Yeah, that's the truth. I left part of my heart in Alaska. Not the wilderness, not the grizzly bears or the wolves, but the people of St. Nick's Parish. Such special friends. I went up there for a reason. I wanted any way I could get up to Alaska, and I got invited to cover the parish for this. I forgot if it was for the summer or for something. I forgot now. Well, a long time ago, 13, 14 years ago. Boy, talk about. Once I got there, I went up there just for a reason, because I actually wanted to go grizzly hunting. I had to be blunt about it. And any way I could get to Alaska to do it, that's what I was going to do. Turned around, I went up there. I wasn't there very long for I couldn't care less about a grizzly bear. I love the parish, love the people, not the physical plant. Anything, no, it was the people of the parish that stole my heart. In fact, they're the ones behind this thing here. I wouldn't even be doing this except they asked me to. See, that's the truth. Gift comes of a surprise. It's the gospel today, Matthew. He said, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed that a person took and sowed in a field. It's the smallest of the seeds, yet when full grown, it's the largest of plants. See? It becomes a large bush, and the birds of the sky come and dwell in its branches. That's you could actually say it's not a half bad analogy or parable with regard to my own experience of Alaska. Yeah, it's like a little planted seed. I went up there to cover a parish in order so I can go out, so I can go bear hunting. That was, and it turns out it became a magnificent bush of friendship of people that stole my heart. And so my heart is still there. I don't know anything about grizzly hunting, but I do know a lot about St. Nick's Parish. Yeah, that's the truth. In a way, I planted my seed there, and I didn't realize how rich the soil was. It turned out to be beyond my imagination. That's the truth, you folks that are there at St. Nick's. You're a gift in my life. I hope I've given as well as I've gotten. That's the truth. Yeah. And in the gospel today, it is the truth. A handful of nobodies, the apostles, because they loved our Lord. They changed the world. They preached the gospel of a crucified, risen Christ to a world that apparently was open. Their hearts were open to hear it, and they changed the world. That is the church. Sometimes the church is just a farmer planting a seed. Sometimes it grows really beautifully, sometimes it doesn't. I have to say, one of the things that very much troubles me, to put it bluntly, it's the contrast. Let me show you the contrast between, for instance, the parish here at St. Mark's. My experience of the parish here over the last, when it was St. Tim's, it's now how many years? 54 years, 53, 54 years, 4 generations of people. But also, I have to say, the people of Alaska, the intensity of the faith and how it's been passed on to their children and grandchildren. Where when I go home to Connecticut, I don't experience it that way, but of course I've been gone so long. But what I'm so aware of is that so many of us of my generation have left the faith. Or at least they're not like the old Italians that go to church twice a year just in case. I'm used to that, but not the loss of faith. And I think that's, to me, is the great scandal of our time. Scandal in the sense of a shock. How could our generation, my generation, who was so pious and so religious, we probably the pious 50s, we grew up in the pious 50s, how could we so completely abandon it? And that seems to me to be the case. Not in all cases, not in all, but in a lot. More, it isn't a genuine, like a diminishment. It's a rejection. It's, if not atheism, darn close to it. How does that happen? You see, how did it happen? It's happened years and years ago. How? And you know, the truth of the matter is, I blame the church for it, actually, being honest with you. At the end of the times, see, how did we plant the seed? Did we just fling it? Or did we take cognizance of the quality of the land and plant the seed appropriately? I don't know. I'm not a farmer. But, I'm not going to blame the people. If I'm any tough, I'm tough on the church because I'm part of it. I'm part of the preaching church. I'm part of the farming community that plants the seed. I do it every day at Mass. How did we drive people away? I said that to a friend of mine who became an atheist. I said to her, what did we do to you that we drove you away? I don't blame her. I blame us. What false gospel did we preach to you? In other words, it may have been word for word correct, but what was there about us, about the church, especially, let's call it the official church or the preaching church? How did we drive you away? I mean that. I think many of us, including very much myself, have to answer for that. How did we plant the seed? Or did we just fling it? Or were we incognizant, if that's the right word, for the quality of the land? And we were not paying attention. We were just doing our job. I don't know. But it is, for me, the great scandal of our time. How we lost my generation. And with our generation lost, those of our children and their grandchildren. At least Europe and America is now, I have to say, a missionary territory. We have to re-preach the gospel. We have to recover and restore, and in some case, invent, as it were, the faith again. We have to recreate it, that's what I mean by it, because we have produced, as it were, as a neo-pagan world, where our actual emotional lives, our religious emotional lives have become paganized. That is the culture. I'm speaking not of individual people, but of the culture. How did such a Christian culture turn on itself as it has? The Europe, here, but especially Europe. Holy cow. I think of the Second World War as a key witness, the whole first half of the 20th century, of the ultimate betrayal of Christianity by Christian countries like Europe, Italy, with Mussolini, Hitler in Germany, Stalin in Russia. These were centers of Christianity. They became the centers of horror. How did that happen? You see? We are now in a very missionary period, I think, in our history. The history of the church, the history of the West. I think we have to replant the seed. The church has to remission her own culture. I mean that. I think we have to replant the seed and care deeply for the soil, not throw it at the people, but cultivate it with our hearts as well as our heads and our mouths. John the 23rd saw, that's why he called a council, to re-evangelize the West. He was right. He is right. Anyway, I'm thinking of the farmer in the field. You've got to pay attention to the quality and the kind of land. You just can't plant the seed. You have to plant it accordingly. If you don't, the seed won't take. Am I right? We know that this soil is capable. Let's plant the seed and plant it wisely and nurture it wisely. I think that's our calling. Yeah.